Ryan Pops, and welcome to the second half of Saturday Morning Cartoons Batman animated series. And oh my goodness, isn't it like gold? See, the thing about the Batman animated series for me is how much they wanted to create their own universe, right? You can almost see animated series as being its own thing, like its own thing. It takes these elements and then just makes it anew. Sure. So this is two parts, fittingly, right? Two-Face, right? Harvey and Bruce's friendship has already been established. And by the way, I'm going to put a link in the description to my Why Is It Great selection from episode 1, which was Batman Annual 14, which deals with Two-Face. So this is truly in consideration for one of the best of all time. If we put them together as one story, how Harvey battles his mental illness, how he's struggling with his own identity, the incredible dialogue, the animation, of course, is just next level. Like, oh, it's so good. It's just so good. So things start with a nightmare. There's the raid. There's jokes, of course. Gordon has some good jokes about a bat infestation because they're doing this raid, and of course, Batman shows up. The thugs have like a bazooka. They're like arms dealers, right? They have a bazooka, and the bazooka ends up going off through the roof. But the bat infestation thing is because they surrender. They'd rather just surrender to the police than have to deal with Batman, right? So there's Dent, and he's praising Gordon and the police, and we don't really acknowledge Batman because Gordon looks up and says thank you to the sky, right? Because Batman's up there on the roof. But Dent is specifically going after Rupert Thorne. We've seen Thorne before, and Dent makes a joke about de-thorning him, right? And it involves this thug that's being attacked, Dent being snide, and then when Dent goes after him, you see the Two-Face persona. You see him almost punching this guy. The press is there, and it's bad, right? And we get our first really, really great line of this, where it's actually Rupert Thorne who says, "You're going to get something on this guy." And they're like, "Oh, no, how? He's squeaky clean." He's like, no. Everyone has something to hide. The brighter the picture, the darker the negative. Oh, it's so good.
Well, I'm afraid that's going to be a problem. Dent's so clean, he squeaks.
All men have something to hide. The brighter the picture, the darker the negative.
Okay, so Harvey's persona is manifested again at a fundraiser, right? After he has everybody laughing, he's talking about getting married to Grace, things are going fine. And then the news lands that the judge has thrown out the case for all this hard work. He's like, it's taken months. And he goes completely nuts, right? Nearly even punches Bruce. So he gets confused and he leaves. And they start talking about psychiatry. You need to get some help. If there's anything I know, it's about how to keep a secret. Great line, by the way. Bruce is fantastic. There's not a lot of credit given to the Bruce Wayne persona and all of this. He just always falls to the wayside. But Bruce really does have some great moments. And then, of course, you have the sequence of the stormy night and the psychiatrist hypnotizing Harvey. And we finally get Big Bad Harv. Big Bad Harv is the prototype, the precursor to what becomes Two-Face, right? The coin flipping, the voice change. And Nora's talking about how Harv has this guilt over anger and then snaps him out of it whenever Big Bad Harv attacks her, right? And he won't go to a psychiatric ward. He agrees to see her more and all these other compromises, right? And they're going to be a landslide victory for Harvey. He's managed all of this, right? There's jokes with Bruce, jokes with Grace. Everything is going on. And then there's the phone call, right? And Thorne calls. He's going to blackmail Harvey because he knows about the psychiatrist. And Bruce starts following. But it ends up being Batman, right? And you have the first use of the Bat Tracker in the animated series, I believe. He shoots the Bat Tracker on there. And now it's Harvey versus Thorne, right? And there's a little bit of fight. The guilt of the story, of his anger, and it all comes to light because Thorne has all this information. He can go to the press and I can put the squeeze on Harvey. And Yeah, of course, the juxtaposition here is, oh no, it's like, you're not talking to Harvey, you're talking to me. That kind of thing. The coin toss, the fight breaks out. Batman arrives, but of course, Harvey is Two-Face. Big Bad Harv is, Thorne is mine, right? And they're fighting or whatever. But the fight leads to an electrical cables hitting chemical, causing an explosion over Harvey's face. And Batman rolls him over. And it's so good. It's so good. Let's take a look.
Harvey. No.
So the doctors, it keeps getting better because the doctors are there. They're talking about his face, the scars, plastic surgery. And Bruce is like, well, I'm more worried about the mental scars, right? And Thorne sees the papers, thinks he's won enough, right? And there's a storm breaking out, and they're going to remove the wraps. And this was actually very reminiscent of Batman 89, right? When Joker has that surgery and, mirror, and he starts laughing. Well, here Harvey screams. He sees the reflection. And Grace is there in the hallway, and you have this incredible shot of the Harvey reveal. Put in the thumbnail. Oh, Grace faints. Big Bad Harv just says goodbye and just jumps out the window, right? Basically gets out the window. We go to episode 2.
Harvey.
I remember watching this episode for the first time. It's just one of those that sticks with you. And then the part 2, it does sort of scale up the Two-Face thing very quickly, right? We have all the twos, right? The twins drive, and they're going to go do the bookie. The bookie thing is already doing the coin flip for this and the silver dollars. And they have to flip for everything. So if it comes up no, he's like, no, you can't have it. And you see how Two-Face is going to operate. You have all of the setup for all the callbacks later, right? And Thorne is completely nuts that this has all happened. It's like, we had him. We thought we got rid of this guy. And Candace is his little lackey. Says, got rid of him. We made him. And then Thorne has another great line, and it's he says something about put out a bounty, $1 million. No, wait, $2 million, $1 million a face for Two-Face. And I'm like, oh gosh, that's comic book fun right there. If you can't enjoy that line, what do you want me to say? So now you start to see the parallel of why Bruce, Batman, has mental issues too, right? So now he's having the nightmares. Not been able to save Harvey. It's his parents judging him. You see that Bruce is really having a hard time with this. And you get sort of like this ultimatum from Thorne to figure out how to get to Harvey, right? Where's Two-Face? And they have a little shot where Candace is pretending to be a cop, gets Grace with the tracker, but the car goes by. It's a great shot. Let's do the shot of the car going by and Harvey looking out. And it's really, really beautiful animation. Okay, so then you cut to Two-Face. He's dividing up the money, doing the coin flip on whether or not to see Grace or not. It's like, no. And this is all set up to be with Batman and Alfred about the robbery with the twos in the name. And then, okay, we're about, there's no more. They run out of targets, right? And they realize, oh, it's going to be the lawyer. Because Two-Face is trying to get the folder on Thorne, which, by the way, is funny because the lawyer's name, by the way, is Doubleday. They never stop with the twos, never stop. However, what's important here is right before here we get what. Oh my God, it was so iconic. I love it so much. The Bat Cycle is revealed, right? We get Batman on his motorcycle, but he has a helmet. And when he puts the helmet on, it changes the shape of the cow, and you're like, this is the perfect design element for the action figure Bat Cycle. Like I don't know. Is there a 1/6 scale of that? Is there like a nice big one of that? It would be super, super cool, by the way.
Keep your guard up, sir. That somewhere inside that monster is my old friend.
So anyway, Batman does arrive. There's a struggle with the lawyer stuff. The fight's breaking out with the twins and all that kind of stuff. This animation is so good. Really, really, really good. Two-Face like gets him and Batman kind of catches him, gets kicked away, that kind of thing. It's way too easy for Batman, but he gets a clue, right? And he's hurt. So you have Two-Face dealing with all the different things about Grace, finally wanting to go see her. Grace lets the tracker know because she thinks it's the cops, right? But it's really not. It's the Thorns. It's Thorne Slacky. So when Thorne is brought to the club, you're there. Grace is in the club. Two-Face is there. And Two-Face, when Grace first arrives, he has like a hood thing over half of his disfigured side, right? And he's just flipping the coin, right? And he's talking about chance and how everything is arbitrary. And she's trying to talk sense to him. He's not having it. He's not. And Grace is like, no, this is nonsense. You need to just take control of your life. And she pulls it away and says, I love you. And you're like, wow, this is really good stuff. But that's when Thorne arrives, right? And again, Thorne, with another great line, says, at last we get to meet face to face to face. And I'm like, see, leaning into it and having fun. Beautiful. Love it. So much fun. Face to face to face. It was revealed how Grace was duped. The bat cycle, of course, in the rain. He is really groaning from this injury in his ribs. We don't really have it explained, but we're assuming it's like cracked ribs. Maybe something is very, very serious. I really wish there was a little bit more of an ode to that at the very end, but I don't think there is. But he struggles during the fight. He's very easy to take down because Thorne's about to ready to shoot Batman, but that's Two-Face. They're all fighting. Everyone's fighting, right? It's chaos, right? But it's like it's the coin flip is the only law. It all comes down to the coin flip, right? And Two-Face has the Tommy gun on Thorne, getting ready to pull the trigger. And Batman he sees those coins they got from that robbery and throws them into the mix. And now he can't find his coin. Two-Face is going crazy. He starts screaming. Again, they tried to throw that in Batman Forever. I've seen it in a couple comics. It's just fun. And you have Grace consoling Harvey, and Harvey's going to be taken away. And even Gordon saying something like, is there any hope? And Batman's final lines are, well, where there's love, there's hope. Where there's love, there's hope. But where there's luck, and he throws a coin in the fountain for Harvey. And I thought it was good. It's so good. I love this music, and the score is just so great with the animation. It's so much. I love, of course, Thorne has several great lines. I really love the line, the first episode line about everyone has something to hide. The brighter the picture, the darker the negative. I think that's great. Richard Moll, remember Moll from Night Court? He's Harvey Two-Face. By the way, I think Richard Moll is also the demon creature thing in Sword and the Sorcerer, by the way. But it's truly one of the best. It's really one of the most memorable for me from when I first saw the series. Like it's one of those like Heart of Ice with Mr. Freeze. There's a couple of these that I can vividly remember how moved I was then, and I can see why now it still holds up. It's still so good. And I will say, I don't know about you guys. You guys tell me what you guys think too. Doesn't this really elevate Two-Face? Not that Two-Face was ever like, a knockoff villain or anything like that, but this really made villain top tier. This really put villain in the same Two-Face in the same conversation with, Joker, Riddler, Penguin, Two-Face, Mr. Freeze, Catwoman, of course. They've taken the Rogues Gallery and they found a couple of these other villains and elevated them. And the animated series did that. The animated series is what did that. Oh, I love it so much. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. I love doing this with you weekly. No end in sight for me. Actually, been trying to figure out a way to do another video in between, like a little gap filler for between X-Men and Batman. I don't know if we'll get to that or not, but I may try. So anyway, I'm Pops. Love your comments. Thank you so much for the feedback and love. Talk to you guys soon.